Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Back on the 2020 R1 build series, we're going to be installing a front sprocket today, or a counter sprocket, going down one tooth, so it's going to be a 15 tooth instead of a 16 tooth. We'll get into that a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and jump in the install and show you how I do it, and we'll discuss a little bit about that. Let's get it rolling. Okay, so let me start off. Just get a good shot of the bike here and what we're working with. This bike, as far as the gearing, is completely stock. It's never been changed. It's a factory chain. It's just a brand new bike. I'm just changing the sprocket. I feel like it could use a little bit more low-end grunt. That's for the style of driving that I do. It's got plenty of top end. I don't really need to go 200 mile an hour. I think just going one tooth down is going to give me what I'm looking for, but it's always an experiment, and we're going to do it. See how it works out. I think it's going to be perfect. I've did this on other bikes with good experience, so let me go ahead and jump in here and get it going for you guys. Okay, so to start off with, this is a sprocket from JT Sprocket. Ordered online, I delivered to the house. JTF 1591-15. It's indicating it is a 15 tooth sprocket. That's what's going on the bike. It does not have the rubber in it like a stock sprocket would. I want a little bit more solid drivetrain. I don't think there's any weight advantage to this sprocket, but it looks like a pretty durable piece, and JT is pretty widely known for making a good product. So this is what we're going to go with, and we'll see how it works out. Alright, so we're going to get started here on this install. Take the plastic cover off here that's covering up the sprocket. First, got to remove the shift linkage. I'll zoom in here so you can see this cover we're talking about. 1, 2, 3 bolts, and they're going to be Allen key. But in order to get the cover off, I got to take this linkage off. It's going to be, I believe it's a Torx 7. Pull this little rubber boot off, and I find it easier to take this Torx off than it is to mess around with readjusting that spline. I can just pop this off the heim joint, take the screw out, move the lever out of my way. I'm not going to be able to get this to focus. It's got a nice little bit of Loctite on it. We're just going to reuse that. And that lever's going to move just right out of your way. It's going to allow us to get in here and get this cover off. And the cool thing about this bike is it's got these little quick release nuts. You just half a turn, can move the fairing out of the way. It's going to make it real easy to get to that bottom. What I do is I just take my extension, little ratchet on there, break these loose. There's not a whole lot of torque on it. Break one at the top, one at the bottom. And we're going to work in a circular pattern around that cover. And then once you get them loose, you can just take them out by hand. It's nice and easy. It's going to save you a lot of time. If you got a power tool, a drill or whatever, you can use that as well. I just like breaking them loose by hand. And to make it clear in the video, I kind of didn't want to use that. So you can see the cover's already loose. Just pulled away from those two hoses right there. You got your drain and your vent from the gas tank. And the inner chain guard. The chain guard is looking kind of nasty. I'm going to have to get in there and do some cleaning. You'll be amazed how much crud you'll find inside there. And that's the nut. It's going to hold the front sprocket on. Try to get you a better view right here. Now if you look at this nut, it's going to have some indentions in there where it's been pressed in to line up with the keyway, is what I would call the keyway, on two sides of that transmission shaft. So now we got the front taken apart. We can go to the back. You got one nut on the right hand side of the bike. Going to loosen that, undo those two, loosen up your 212s for the chain tension, and get some slack in the chain, and then we'll be able to go to work. So the front sprocket is going to be a 30, I believe it's a 30 millimeter. And the rear axle is going to be a 32. Let me get some light here so we can see. Maybe this will make a difference. Hopefully you guys can see this. But there's going to be two indentions on that nut. On the shaft there's going to be two grooves. And they're taking a press and they're knocking the lip of that bolt down there to keep it from backing off. Yamaha does recommend that you get a new nut. It's a one-time use deal. But my experience working on cars using things like this, they rarely line up in the same spot, so you're going to have a new area on the lip to press in, and I'm just going to reuse that nut. I've never had a problem. If it doesn't line up and it looks like it's going to be sketchy, then I'll just go ahead and order a new nut, but I've never had a problem in the past. Get the handy dandy Matco out here right now and zip this nut off. Now here's those two spots I was telling you about. Hopefully if I get the camera to focus on this. They land right there on the output shaft of the transmission. It's not a big deal to reuse this nut. So you can see the sprocket is loose now. It's going to slide up and down on the shaft. I'm going to get this set up and we're going to undo the rear axle. Alright guys, so get your socket here. rear axle nut's going to be a 32. Get that loose so it'll move. I've already loosened this. This is your lock nut and this is your adjustment that's going to turn the screw to move your back wheel in and out to adjust your chain slack. You want to adjust both sides evenly and look at the marks. There are marks right here. You're going to line it up with this block on the axle so you know that your tire's straight when you go back together. But for now, we just need some slack to get our chain off. So that's how you adjust that, just to make sure you can see it. That's your two nuts. Okay, so back to the sprocket. Washer right here. Put that with your nut. Oftentimes, you pop it out just like that. I may have to get some more slack in the back tire. Pretty much got all the slack out of the chain. There it is. It is the OEM sprocket with the rubber attached to it for a dampening effect. So while I got this chain chilling over here, I'm going to grab some rags and I'm going to clean that up. All right, let's do a quick little comparison here. Not a whole lot of difference in those two sprockets. This one does say 16 tooth, 15 tooth. Spline looks good. It's not going to be a huge change, just one tooth, but it will be enough to do what I want to do, I hope. And if not, I may go up one on the back. Anyway, that's your sprocket. I got this whole area cleaned out here. So I'm going to go ahead and this sprocket should go. Let's take a look at it real quick. It should go either way. It's not going to make a difference. We don't want this thing super dirty. It's going to be inevitable though. Put my foot here on the back tire so I can keep it from moving. Now it's locked onto the splines. I'm just going to give it a little tappy tap. put the washer, if I can hold on to it. Washer's gonna go back in the same spot. Here's the nut. Just turn it down hand tight. It should push that sprocket up on there a little bit more. And from there, we're gonna go back out and adjust the rear, as you can see. The chain's off, tire's all the way up. Put the chain back on there and set the tire up. And then we'll start buttoning everything back up. I will have to torque this back down. I'm gonna torque the rear. I'm gonna have to look up the spec on this because I don't know it off the top of my head, but the rear is 150 foot-pounds on the rear axle. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix this tire. Fix the chain, get the back tire in relative position, and then we'll come back and button this thing up. Okay, real quick. I don't know if I can get this on camera, where I got it set up right now or not. Let me go to the other side. It's gonna be easier. Focus in there. Anyway, there are some lines there. Really hard to see. I don't think the camera's capturing it. But I'm gonna try to pull this back tire as far as I can get it back. Grab my little 12mm wrench here. I'm going to turn it. You can start turning it by hand. Just a little quicker. Need my light. So if I count these lines here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to put it right on the 5th line from the rear. And then you're going to go to the other side. Do the same thing. One, two, three, four, five. See if I can't grab a hold of this thing and slide it back. Chain tension is way off at this point. It is a smaller sprocket, so you're going to have to adjust it out quite a bit more than it was to get the right amount of tension in your chain. And again, that's too tight. And then it's too tight. You don't want too much tension in your chain. It's going to wear your sprockets. That's real close right there. So that's pretty much going to do it for the chain adjustment. Okay. Get on the other side so I can operate the brake. Okay. It's a little bit of a challenge by itself. That's torqued on there. Right here you can see it's no problem reusing this because you have a new surface of the bolt in which we're going to take a punch and make a detent. It's going to keep that nut from backing off. The other side right here. Tappy tap. A little bit of crud right here on the inside of my cover. Take the time to get it out. So I'm going to go in this one way. Line back up. Start with the easy one first. Get it started. One on the bottom. Get it started. Third one right here by the hoses. I don't use a real big ratchet on these because the torque's not that tight. I'm going to cinch it down. We're just tightening on the plastic here, simply holding the cover. So, hook this back up for the heim joint, for the shift lever. Probably just came out. Put it back in neutral. Put our rubber boot back over the top. Help keep some moisture out of that. And that, for the most part, is it. Put this back in. Secure the fairing. I'm going to wipe everything down while I'm in here. And we're going to go back over everything one last time. Make sure our chain slack is good. I think that's pretty close to perfect. Don't want it too tight. And that's it for a front sprocket. Really not a huge job. Pretty much anyone could handle it with some basic hand tools. I think one down is going to give me just enough because the bike ain't slow. I don't want to lose too much top end, but I would like a little bit of improvement in acceleration. So I think this is going to give me what I want. So let me get everything buttoned back up and we'll go for a ride. Guys, got the sprocket on, everything's put back together. I'm really curious to see how this sprocket is going to change the bike. I did obviously do a short little drive to get up here, and it certainly feels a lot more responsive. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my leg over and we'll take it for a ride. I will say it comes up on the clutch a lot easier. It's not too dramatic. Obviously one tooth, it's like 2.5–3% change in gear ratio. It's not a huge deal. I know on other bikes, I'm kind of curious how this is going to be. Turning 55, 5,600 RPMs. Feels very responsive the way it rolls in the gear. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that. Like I said, it is not a huge difference, but it's definitely noticeable. And I think acceleration is where it's at. There's not too many places you can run 200 miles an hour, even on the track. Unless you're on a particular track that's super long, you're not really going to need that top speed. You'll be able to get in and out of the corners and, you know, little competitions on the road. I think the gearing is going to give you what you want. I know back in the day I did a couple of times at Fuji Speedway in Japan, and that track is fast. That straight is super long. You can definitely max your top speed out. I have my RX-7 and I want to say that thing was about 145, maybe 150 mile an hour car. Speedos and kilos. 255. I think it's the fastest I ever had that car. It's up on the tack pretty good. But the corner coming at the end, you're going to need a lot of brakes. Now, that's a pretty big track. And most tracks you ride on ain't going to be that big, and certainly you're not going to go that fast on the street. So if you're on the fence about changing your sprocket, I'd say go ahead and do it. And you may even want something more aggressive. You may go up one in the back, two in the back. That's That's just enough. It possibly could stand a little more gear in it than what it's got, but for me, that's good. It's going to give me a good all-around machine to work with. I like it a lot. Woo! The one reason I was going to say I want to change this sprocket is if you're riding canyon roads, what I've noticed is a lot of folks, they got their bike tacked out, and I know that's where the power's at, but I find it a lot smoother if I can be up in a little higher gear and roll on the apex a little earlier and have some pickup on the bike. Well, I don't have to change gears, but I also don't want too steep of a gear in it, so if I need to stay in second gear, third gear, if you got some fast competition, or you're really trying to push it hard, you can still come out with some power. I'm going to throw in a little comparison video here of the stock gear at a relative speed here, just to see what kind of difference it is. Alright, so my overall impression is that was definitely a good deal. Changing that sprocket, it definitely improved the bike. Makes it a lot more fun to ride, a lot more responsive. Well, I say a lot, but it's noticeable. It's not just super crazy, just one tooth, but it definitely feels a lot more solid coming off the bottom. And the way it rolls on, I like it a lot. So I may do some more gear changes in the future. It's a pretty cheap option to do. That sprocket wasn't a lot of money. JT makes a quality product, so I don't have to worry about it. But overall, I'd say, yeah, it's definitely worth doing, as easy as that is. Definitely a lot more fun to ride, so if you're thinking about getting a sprocket, don't hesitate. As I said, this 2020 R1 It's an outstanding bike. It's definitely an outstanding bike, but you're going to want to make improvements for your riding style and what you want to do, and I think they all leave a little something to be desired personally, and probably for a little mileage or something. I don't know how different the gearing is of these and the older models, but definitely needed that gear change. Hey, we keep learning and improving, and that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and come back and see more for this build series on the R1. If there's something you would like to see or you're curious about, let me know. Maybe I can make it happen. I do have some plans in the future for this bike. Definitely going to be some other parts going on it. Going to be getting a tune on it real quick, and I guarantee that's going to make a huge difference, and it's going to complement that sprocket a whole lot. You can feel when you ride this bike that it's got some dips in the power band, and it's definitely not pulling at the top. They're definitely closing the butterflies. So it's going to be a mean machine very soon. So y'all keep it tuned and have a good day, and don't forget to like and subscribe.